Hey everybody, I felt like dropping in a message about the importance of grounded spirituality. It's a theme that's coming up so strongly recently. I'm noticing it coming up in my field, my clients, and just, yeah, a lot of people that I'm talking to. And that's really coming also for me from my own personal experience as well, because I lived in a spiritual hub. So it's in the midst of a spiritual community, but also in a place that's super magical that I will forever call home. It's really home for me. But it's really a vortex, which is the Sacred Valley of Peru. And it's a vortex. It's another dimension. It's really high vibrational, and it just really works on your crown. So everybody there is really flying, and just it really activates you on so many different levels. And also it's a hub for a lot of plant medicines, a lot of just spiritual work. So that's really the collective consciousness of that space. And I'm so excited to tell you that I'm actually planning a retreat in Peru, in the magical Sacred Valley, the magical Andes, this powerful, powerful vortex that I will forever call home. So if you're interested in joining this retreat, just join the waiting list below. What I'm talking also about today is that we want to be careful with, and I am mindful of using the word careful, because sometimes when we say that, it's like it can spark fear. But my intention here is not to spark fear, but awareness, because if you're experiencing something like that, or if you've had that experience, or if maybe you're feeling something is off, and I don't know, things that you're doing, spiritual activities, or if you're communing with spiritual healers, or spiritual mentors, or whatever it is, or shamans, you're feeling something's off, but you're not necessarily knowing what it is, maybe that would activate something in you. But why I'm saying it's to be careful, because a lot of those spiritual truths that sometimes we go and awaken to, and we activate, and we rise up into, because like we are the creators of our reality, and everybody is a mirror, and we're one, and it's all energy, and just so many other concepts that I can talk about. And the thing is that we get that, we really do. And at the end of the day, of course, it's all energy. It's all energy. And everything comes from spirit. And on some level, we can look into different perspectives of things. And that at the end of the day, it's also a soul's choice, or it's something that, we've done, or we've chosen, or created. However, we really want to be careful with those things, because what's happening is that most of those realities, those people, those activities within the spiritual community are dismissing the physical. And what I mean by that is that they're dismissing the fact that we are made of the 4 different dimensions of our being, which is the spirit, or we can say the energy world, the spiritual realm, but we're also made of the mental realm, which is our psyche, the unconscious, the conscious, the subconscious. We're also made of the emotional realm, because we feel, we have feelings. We're also made of the physical, the material world. And we cannot, and again, I'm saying this, and I don't want to be putting a limit or a box to something, but it's from my own perspective and from my own reality, I feel that in order to become whole with ourselves, we need to integrate all these different dimensions within ourselves. And if we dismiss one, we're putting ourselves in an endless loop of escapism, because it's easier. And it's very difficult to accept that, but it's really easier to just use those spiritual terminology, spiritual truth, to not really feel, to not really integrate parts of our psyche, to not really meet and face part of our shadows, which are the shadow, which is I talk a lot about in my channel, which is really those hidden parts within our own psyche that we don't want to face. And we would be bypassing ourselves from even feeling our emotions And so many things, like, you know, you're witnessing that, and that's where it's I think I'm just going to say things as they are, but it's really challenging and difficult, because what's happening is that I've spoken about this also in my latest video if you want to check it out. But I've spoken about how the spiritual mentors, or anybody that's in the spiritual field but that is not integrated, that is not practicing grounded spirituality, that is not working on their own shadows, that is not treating their person that is coming to them, whatever you want to call it, student, client, patient, whatever you want to call it, if they're not treating them as an equal, and they're not treating them in a way that's empowering them and making them as a sovereign person, what's happening is that it's playing a dangerous game, because it's creating that codependency, and it's having that sort of attachment and codependency, like, you are codependent on me, you are dependent on me, and they're not really helping them free themselves really, you know, like, or free themselves from their pain, because they're not letting them tackle those real, authentic spaces within themselves that they have to face and they have to make peace with, and knowing that at the root, at the core of everything, they do not need anybody. They do not need anybody. They call in for support, so they're here to be support, to be a guide, but they're not here to be, they don't need saving. In that space, and I'm just, again, going to say it as it is, it's quite a vampiric energy, a parasitic energy, because it's the energy within the spiritual community, and anyone that's being in the pioneers, standing in that role of a spiritual guide. If they're not really being pure with their intention and doing that grounded spirituality, they're feeding off of the other person's needs of them. This is what it really goes to. And that's really tricky, because at the end of the day, you know, this is what I'm saying, it's the ego. It's seeing parts of our psyche, checking in with our own values, checking in with ourselves every single moment, and seeing what's going on. So in order to do that, to come into wholeness with ourselves, if you're feeling there's something off in that interaction you're having with a spiritual guide, or if you're a spiritual guide, it's okay, and you're noticing that, wait a second, I feel like there's something off with the way that I'm guiding. So I'm a healer, I'm a coach, but yeah, I don't know, like, maybe I need to check in with myself. Maybe there's something within myself I'm not seeing. Notice if, trust that feeling, that if something is feeling off, and you know that other person is just using those spiritual terminologies to kind of put a haze on you, that, you know, it's just your projection, it's just, you have to look within yourself, I'm mirroring you, we are one, you know. But actually what they're doing is they're holding a specific energy of abuse, and what that can create is that it can create a mental trap. And that is why a lot of people now, you're hearing them also come up a lot, like, oh, like, you know, the new age is actually the new cage, you know, like things like that. But I feel that it's not the new age itself, because again, new age can be seen into can be interpreted in many different ways. What is new age? But it means that those people that are not, they are distorting, they're letting their ego get the best of their experience as a spiritual guide, and they're not doing that grounded spirituality, that embodied consciousness, that embodied spirituality. They're putting themselves in a trap, and they're putting the ones that they are serving and they're supposed to be in service with, they're putting them in a mental trap. And just to identify a mental trap, what that looks like is that when you're feeling or sensing a difficulty that you're going through in your relationship with yourself, with your family, with whatever, in any situation, your job or anything, and then you have those voices that are coming to you that is not letting you break free from that thought process, spiritual thought process. It's like, oh, you know, like, you just be in love, you know, like, just keep giving more love, or like, you're not being loving enough, or you're not being these people are just mirroring you. This is all in you. So if someone's being abusive, that's because, you know, you're abusing yourself. If you're finding yourself in that loop and you feel trapped, like you're not able to take action, you're not able to unite with yourself, to unify, to feel safe in your own body, you're just looping in those spiritual thoughts, this is a mental trap. So this is just an idea to kind of identify what's going on there, because a genuine spiritual guide is here to give you tools that will allow you to unify with yourself, not bypass yourself, not amplify your ego either, like, you know, that you are, almighty of almighty, that you're that, you know, holy saint, because at the end of the day, we are, and we are also the shadow that is within us that we need to integrate. We are it all, you know, but not to amplify that ego, because if they're doing that and just, you know, especially with those, like, you know, you're a unique light worker, and, you know, you've come here, you're on a special mission, and you're unique and you're special, and yes, okay, and I know that it's really challenging even to make this video, because this is we're talking like deep, like specific depth of layer, because okay, in a way it's true, we are special. Each one of us is special in their own way, because we are God's children, all of us. We all hold something special in us. And if we've been beating ourselves up our entire life, so feeling special and reconnecting to our light is something important. And I've done a video about that also, please check it out, about the difference between light work and shadow work, and the importance of unifying them, because you want to get to that, you want to embrace your light, you want to tell yourself, you want to remember that you are unique, you want to remember that you're a light worker, you want to remember that you are, you know, the son and the daughter of God, or you are the creator. You want to remember these things, yes, but not in a way that's making you amplifying your ego, in a way that's actually very humbling, because when you realize that, it humbles you. It doesn't make you go, you know, boost your ego in that way. And yet again, when we talk about the ego, that's another thing, you know, when, you know, you hear also those spiritual, like the spiritual guides that are not honoring and being in the embodied consciousness. If anything, you say, they're like, oh, it's just, you know, it's just your ego being triggered. It's just your ego being triggered. No. Actually, we need to have a healthy sense of ego. Did we forget that? It's not about killing our ego. You know, although we say, in like when we have intense ceremonies or like near-death experiences, there was the ego death, but actually it's for some sort of higher purpose. But eventually, after you have that, you want to bring it back and integrate it with your psyche, with your sense, your healthy sense of ego, with your emotions, so that when you are in whatever situation you are dealing with, you are living your life, you're able to live your life whole, feeling like you're not dismissing one part or the other. So I feel this message is really important. Let me know your thoughts, leave your questions or messages in the comment below, and please don't forget to like, share, or subscribe, because this will help me also, this will support me to keep doing more of those videos as well. And I'm so excited to tell you that I'm actually planning a retreat in Peru, in the magical sacred valley, the magical Andes, this powerful, powerful vortex that I will forever call home. So if you're interested in joining this retreat, just join the waiting list below.